So what went down during Chapter 13 of Final Fantasy 15? Well, let me tell you, a whole lot of bullshit. So it starts off with you being on the train with Gladio and Ignis. Prompto's been thrown out because you accidentally hit him off the train earlier in the last chapter, which I talked about in my previous video, which I will share with you. So you start the chapter with your powers gone, and then demons start attacking the train. So you have to run from them to the back of the train to find your car and barge out of the train with that. And then you just race down the tracks to get to the city. And when you get there, the car gets wrecked because the vehicles and whatnot are shooting at you, even though it doesn't explain why they're exactly shooting at you, because you find out later that everything went to shit in the city. The city got fucked. So I don't know why those vehicles, those ships are still hitting you, but whatever, they are. So you get your car destroyed, and then they mess up the line of thanks for everything, Dad, because he's looking at the car instead of the scene from the commercial where he puts the ring on his finger and he says thanks for everything, and it felt like it mattered more. But so you get out of the car, and then you go underneath the train car, which then smashes, which separates you from Ignis and Gladio. They go do their own thing as you go to the next area, which is just full of locked doors. Fun, right? But the big thing about this chapter is you finally put on the ring of Lucia. And that gives you the ability to do death, which is just you just hold your hand out and it just sucks the life out of people, which turns them into like a little wireframe and then they blow up. It's really freaking cool. You also get a dodge ability, so every time you use your dodge move, it uses your stamina as you hold it, and you auto dodge and counterattack by blasting them in the face with your ring powers with your magic. As you go and do that, you are just constantly trying to go up this tower to get to the laboratories where you learn about the way that they made these people, which is they converted humans into monsters, which is very reminiscent of Final Fantasy VII. That's how they made their monsters. So you end up running around a bit more. You have a Dracula monster that chases you for no reason, and they try to do like the spooky jump scare stuff. Once you get past fighting Dracula and running away from him, you eventually get locked into a hallway, and you have two laser doors that are closing in, and as that happens, Gladio and Ignis come and find you. So they save you, and then shortly after that, you go and find Prompto, who was held captive on one of their stretchers, which is really weird. And then shortly thereafter, you learn that Prompto is one of the monsters. You have the team back, and you go to the throne where the king was, who was actually the Dracula monster, but they don't talk about that. They just kind of go, Murr. And when you kill him, he's like, the ring will be mine. I deserve the power of the ring. And that's like supposed to be your only hint toward it being the king. It was so dumb. That whole chapter had me questioning everything, like nothing made sense. But so you find a server rack in his kingly chambers, and you smash that, and somehow the server rack was the reason behind you not being able to use your powers. It wasn't some weird magic that and as you're trying to leave, Ravis comes back with half of his body turned into a monster, which I don't know who did that. And someone, probably Arden, but they never say anything, was the one that turned him into half of a monster. When you go up to him, he's like, kill me. You know, the normal rigmarole of, I've been possessed by an evil force, make it stop. So you fight him. It's a nice fight, probably one of the best fights in the game. And then when you finish that one, you get overwhelmed by monsters, and your buddies tell you to go on without them, and so you basically abandon them for Destiny. Destiny. And when you abandon them, you go up to the top floor, and you find the crystal that's been taken from Insomnia. And Arden's there, and he's like, ho ho ho, cool. And then you get sucked into the crystal because the crystal's hungry, man. It's been alive for a long time, and it's not been well nourished. So it ate you. And then when it eats you, you see your buddies come up and they fight Arden. They shoot him and stab him and stuff, and he just gets up because he's immortal, as they've said a bunch of times. And then he shows like his little demon face. And then they move on. So then while that's going on. It goes into the crystal where you are, and you're just floating in nothingness. And then Bahamut, whatever type of style you want to say it, comes up in front of your face, and he's like, "You are the one that will become the ruler of the crystal, and you must think about your life and become Buddha to gain the power of the ring." And so you sit there in thought and retrospective of your entire life and all the stuff you did, which really means the screen goes white for a bit, and then Bahamut says some stuff, and then 10 years passed, and then you have the ring. And that's about it. That's what happened in chapter 13. Exciting stuff. If you want to see the other recaps that I've done of Final Fantasy 15, be sure to check them out. I will have them somewhere around here. Anyway, we got one more recap to go. That's chapter 14, when you go and fight Arden and you take back Insomnia with your buddies. And what happens afterward. Hope you guys check it out. See ya.